All right, in this video, I wanted to talk just a little bit about the ways that learning about Bitcoin has impacted my life in a positive way. The main way is it's given me kind of a different framework from which to view the world. I think before I really understood Bitcoin, and learning about Bitcoin then subsequently led me to study the monetary system, the history of that, different aspects of history and economics. And before, I just felt this sense of hopelessness, and I didn't really have a good outlet to put that, or a productive way to channel that energy. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think, one of the prevailing kind of solutions that people have to issues like wealth inequality, day-to-day economic issues, things getting more expensive. A lot of the times the approach is just to look at people who have accumulated wealth and just think that they have too much wealth. They should give it away to someone who doesn't have as much. And I can sympathize with that viewpoint, but when you look at the K-shaped economy that we have, which is basically just the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer, a lot of that stems from fiat money, right? Fiat money constantly loses value. So the people who own assets, right, assets like stocks, real estate, things like that, they're on the top end of the K-shaped economy. The people who save and work in the currency, the dollar, the yen, the euro, whatever, they're on the bottom end of the K shape, which is just constantly going down. And that's a systematic feature of fiat currency, of central bank controlled currency, because the currency isn't backed by anything. It's printed out of thin air and it constantly loses value, right? Losing value is a feature of fiat currency, not a bug of capitalism or some other system. So studying Bitcoin, again, just I feel got me more to the root of these problems, and just gave me a framework and hope for the future, because there is a monetary system that isn't a K-shaped, right? It's a finite currency with a finite supply that no one can create more of. So people saving in the currency, right? No one can print more Bitcoin and dilute their purchasing power. So on a Bitcoin monetary standard, when people save in Bitcoin, they know they're not going to get diluted by the money printer. And just studying the history of money, right? Most people never ask themselves the question, what is money? What actually is it? They'll spend hours and hours and hours thinking about how to accumulate more money, thinking about their problems as not having enough money. But when have we ever questioned or been taught, in school, what is money, right? If someone were to create the perfect form of money, what would it be, right? And I believe Bitcoin is the form of money that embodies all the things you would think of when you would imagine in your head a perfect form of money, right? A perfect form of money would maintain its value. And of course, now Bitcoin is a volatile asset because it's traded like a volatile tech stock or an asset, because it's so early in its adoption, right? It's a $1 trillion asset, or a $1.5 trillion asset in a $1 quadrillion, total financial market. So yeah, it's going to have volatile moves because it's more sensitive to big players going in and out of it. But on a base layer, on a monetary layer, it's a stable currency because no one can create more of it. So what other features would you think of if you dreamed up perfect money, right? It would be a transparent ledger, right? You could see and audit the transactions. Those transactions wouldn't be, tied to your identity like it is in a central bank digital currency, but in a pseudonymous, I don't know how to say that word, way, you can see every transaction that's happening, right? It's an open public ledger. right? If you could go view your bank's ledger, like, you would. Like, that would be a feature of perfect money, being able to see the transactions as they occur and audit that your money's actually there. You can't audit that your money's in the bank because it's not in the bank, because we have fractional reserve banking, where banks only have to hold a small percentage of their customers' funds. So I just believe, and I'm saying this all the time, so many things that people complain about, that they say capitalism this, capitalism that, I think so much of it, when you really study the money, is tied to fiat currency. Sure, there's no perfect system, and some things that people criticize are valid, but things aren't getting more expensive because of capitalism, right? Things aren't getting more expensive because the greedy grocery store owner is jacking up prices for everyone, right? They're feeling the effects of monetary debasement too. We all are. The people that aren't being as affected by monetary debasement are the people who have massive amounts of assets, a ton of real estate, a ton of stocks, right? That's why CEOs who own massive amounts of, companies' equity, right, they're doing pretty well, because the creation of new money makes people have to invest into stocks to just keep up with the debasement of the currency. So I guess that was a bit of a tangent, but another way studying Bitcoin has improved my life is just connecting me with such cool people. Like, I just feel like connecting with people in Bitcoin, interested in Bitcoin, is just like the best combination of, people interested in tech or finance, and just like generally like hopeful people, positive people, smart people, all of the above. So that's been another huge win. And yeah, like I said, I don't feel like I had this sense that things are broken, right? The system, right? It was just, the system is broken, this and that, but there was never like a productive way to put it. But now there is, right? If we fix the money that we save in, that we work for, we can fix a lot of systemic societal issues, right? Because you can't print the money out of thin air to fund war, right? It really boils down to that. So let me know in the comments what your experience has been with Bitcoin. Like and subscribe to the channel to support my daily upload grind. Thanks for all the support on the videos, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, together, let's work, save, and build a brighter future with Bitcoin. See you in the next video.